Go be tribal, eat less, buy nearly nothing except what's given from their places to purchase, like Amazon. And they're streaming content on any number of places, including Netflix, Google Play, YouTube, TV. They go to tribalism. The people who are being supported by those in the prestige and the powerful jobs, providing high salaries and paychecks, houses, apartments looking like mansions, with people in the tribal culture there feeding, living in small little studios and getting fed medicine from psychiatrists for disorders, written in books they sell on their websites, receiving instructions from the counselors and the psychologists and the landlords about the conditions given by the work completed by these people in these universities and colleges who use their search engine to make their syllabi. In other words, they're defeating climate change from a position similar to an outpost tower with a machine gun attached, shooting their missile of stimulation on their video screens, music services, no longer funding artists, but providing just the right amount to give a little bit of energy to not die. Almost similar to life support. Until they say the world has no more death and decay, no more risk for apocalypse and annihilation, their kids, their children will then not have to worry about immigration in enormous numbers from fleeing flooded villages. And instead say open borders, as long as we make the climate change go away. They build electric cars, self-driving. They pat Elon Musk on the back and say, go to China, make them batteries and hand them on out. Except to say hand them all out would be racist, and they say distribute them appropriately. Technological slavery was inaccurate. Technological tribalism, the beginning of death and violence. Safety and security for the masses who work for Google and other technology businesses. The stimulation gets provided. The person who's in this tribalist, socialist culture, ethnic world spends their time like the little baby from the family whose dad worked for Google doing self-driving cars now, who'd stand on his head and stare at his tablet instead of playing with toys, like they used to do in the olden days when those stupid idiot people didn't have such brilliance and intelligence to give them a task. Now, he'd wake up and I'd leave. The tablet remained in the same place on his hand unless he had a fork eating some macaroni and cheese, watching YouTube videos with men talking like this and showing the video games, strategy guides for little children and babies whose mommies and daddies were eating huge amounts of food from the grocery store where they sell natural and organic. And Poppy was drinking some liquor and getting his jacket all tight and ready to go race. The time on the stimulation, the electricity and the energy provided by the technology stop. The person leaves the device. The object returns to the world normal. Receives commands and requirements from other people, folks, humans, from gestures, and follows the limits and the rules of behavior, speech, and not making a mistake with the risk of death and punishment. And eventually, exile. People being forced to go and be survivalists to escape the denial of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the amendments. Go hunt and eat like a real person. And where all of their system gets to be dangerous has to do with the gestures, the requirements, the limits, the behavior. And unfortunately, the medicine given by their psychiatrists, they refuse to eliminate. Their system of medicine in place to provide the benefits they describe now. Go, a person says. Instead of purchasing a bottle of beer and putting on a record, a vinyl music, the person goes home, turns on their device, watches a TV show, a rerun from a place where they say they don't have any racist material now. And all of the faces have been changed with fake videos. And all of the words have been vetted for inconsistencies. And especially those dirty, rotten, nasty, filthy, horrible ex-presidents are mysteriously nowhere anymore now. The tribal culture, ethnic world, civilization has an almost infinite amount of stimulation available to not only distract, misdirect, and confuse a person, but to indoctrinate, change their thinking and thought, and potentially even cause harm, causing cancer, heart attacks, and other health dilemmas, along with neurological disarray. Continually making more and more and more and more new online brothels with fake women and huge abnormal breasts and tits. Dildos plugged into laptops, stimulating from an algorithm a man who did his homework. Shut the window now. Cars and gasoline will be removed eventually. All of the toxicity they say has to do with the world eventually ending. From the abuse, from the turmoil involved with the industrial, the vehicles, the cars with their oil and their pollution, and have chosen, instead of geoengineering, social control with engineering on their technological services. Facebook allowing any government on the planet Earth to hack, bully, and abuse a user. In Thailand, Greenwood, and Seattle. Anybody who logs in and goes to Tibet via email risks the Chinese Beijing government of communism taking their credit card information, taking their phone numbers and robocalling, and preparing a jail cell for when they come try to visit their family in the mountains of the Himalayas now.